Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
Back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Bushman, Curt Crosby's with me, affectionately known as the Honeyman. The Honeyman, localhoneyman.com is his website. Check that out. He used to be with me full time, and now he's got so many grandkids, he's got to go part time. You know what I'm talking about? It's great news because it's all about God, family, and country. That's who we are. That's what we do. It's as real on the radio and TV as it is in our real lives. We've got an event, folks. You don't want to miss this one. It's the first 2026 John Birch Society Conference. It'll be Friday and Saturday, June 5th and 6th at the beautiful Radisson Hotel in Salt Lake City. Yes, indeed, members and friends from across the country will gather for a powerful day of education, strategy, and inspiration. You'll hear dynamic presentations on all kinds of things, folks. How to stop a con, protecting election integrity, using congressional and state legislative scorecards effectively, restoring sound money. We were just talking about that one. Exposing and defeating the push for global control. There'll be special remarks from the CEO of the JBS, Wayne Morrow. jbs.org/conference/SLC26. You got to get your tickets, folks, June 5th and 6th. One of the speakers who will be there, and a dear friend of ours, known him for a long time, Patrick Wood. He's a leading and critical expert on sustainable development, the economy, 2020-30, all these different, global agenda plans to destroy us, historic technocracy, his website, technocracy.news. Patrick, welcome back to Liberty RoundTable Live, sir. It's been a while.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
So catch us up then. You're going to be talking in Salt Lake City on June the 5th and 6th. You'll be there. What's primarily the focus of your talk?
As always, technocracy. And this has been my wheelhouse for a long time. I've kind of emerged as somebody called me the living expert on technocracy. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but someday when I pass this world, I guess I'll be the dead expert on technocracy. I've written 5 books at this point about it, and I've emerged at this point as the guy to go to if you want to understand technocracy. And believe me, people are really understanding what's going on right today, with all the stuff going on with AI, with the technology takeover in Washington D.C., et cetera. This has been a stunning period of time to live in.
All right, help people understand technocracy then. That term's very interesting. What it really means is high-tech tyranny, right?
Basically, that's a good way to look at it. Technocracy is old. It was created in 1932 at Columbia University. They said, this is their definition, this is the official definition that they said, that they wrote in publications in the 30s. They said, quote, technocracy is the science of social engineering, the scientific operation of the entire social mechanism to produce and distribute goods and services to the entire population for the first time in history. It'll be done as a scientific engineering technical problem. Then it goes on and says there will be no place for politics, politicians, finance or financiers, racketeers. Technocracy will distribute by means of a certificate of distribution available to every citizen from birth to death. That's in a nutshell what we have going on today. The mission has not changed in over or almost 100 years.
They still haven't co-opted the Honeyman yet, though, have they, Curt? You're out on there on the street, man, in the sun, baking in the sun, selling honey to people, man. There's a lot of people sweet on the Honeyman, I'm telling you right now. What do you say to this, Curt, though? It's really womb to tomb, forcing everybody into this technocrat kind of distribution method that they control, Curt.
Well, as we were talking earlier with our other guests in the last half hour, when you look at the AI thing that just basically pervade, just filling our society, and we're supposed to embrace it, and somehow everything will be all right with it. Like even in our system, we've got our youngest son thought it would be so helpful for us. Now, you just wonder, are we better off or are we worse off? Because you just have so much work to do just to take care of the quote AI help you've got.
So, Patrick, are you a prompt master? Is that what you are?
Well, not really. I've been studying AI for a long time because I had a career in technology in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s as well. And so I'm steeped in technology. I love technology, as a matter of fact. When it helps me, I have no problem with it. When it wants to control me, that's where I take exception. And so technology is not evil in itself, but the way that it's being used by these technocrats at this point is to capture humanity on a wholesale basis. It will end
I
up
look at it
being,
kind of like the global warming reality, Patrick. You know what? There are cycles to the globe. There are cycles to warming, cooling, and everything else. And there is economic change. I mean, God's the ultimate weatherman, right? When we sin and do bad, He uses the weather to remind us, hey, turn to Him. But the reality is, it's government putting themselves in the middle of it and using it to control us all is the problem. Well, the same thing's true here with tech, right?
Yes, and there's an emerging class of people in Washington, D.C. that I would call them technocrats. Somebody would say, well, the tech bros, people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, Michael Kratsius, etc. These people have their own agenda. It's not a political agenda at all. It's an economic agenda. This is one reason why it's been so difficult to fight against technocracy, because people look at the political system and say, well, it's a political issue, but it's not. It's an economic issue at this point. These people want to take over the whole world. So when they said in the 1930s that there would be no place for politicians, finance or financiers, that's exactly what they meant. They wanted to get rid of all the politicians in Washington, D.C. and across the country. They wanted FDR to appoint them, the technocrats, to run the country top to bottom. This is insane. We have, in other words, the political system in our country that we've revered for all these decades is under attack right now. And if they're successful at removing a political system, what do we have left? That point.
So, Patrick, what do you think is going to happen with this? I mean, are we all just going to get a universal basic income? Nobody's going to work. We're just going to play video games all day. I mean, what's the future for this stuff if they have their way?
Well, we look at the concept of scientific dictatorship for sure. This is the cradle-to-grave aspect. You get your ration of distribution, whatever that might be. And we see also the removal of property rights. This is endemic right now. It's just amazing where the property rights are just being stripped left and right. And we see also the rise of tokenization. All assets, this is Larry Fink speaking, the head of BlackRock, member of the Trilateral Commission, by the way. Larry Fink said anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. You see this New York Stock Exchange just announced a few weeks ago that they're going to tokenize all of the stock market, that the New York Stock Exchange. This is absolutely huge at this point. People don't see it coming. It's like a freight train at this point. So, how can we defend ourselves against this class of people? This is why we have to be cognizant of what's going on. We have to see these people. We have to see them, call them out for what they are. And if there's time to save our country, we have to appeal to politicians to protect us from these people. They're like foreign invaders, if you will, but they're not foreign. They're right in our country.
Well, and the sad part is they act like they have our best interest at heart, and they, pretend they do, and they talk like they do, and everything else. And I don't mean to mock this because this is serious business, people. They really want to create a tech tyranny. They want to use tech to control all of us, and they're getting awful close, believe it or not. But my kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek statement to kind of nail this home, Curt Crosby, you'll appreciate this. I think they're trying to turn the whole world into a big old Chuck E. Cheese. You get tokens to do everything. You get little prizes at the end so you feel good. You might get to eat pizza if you're lucky. Other than that, it's all crowded and crazy. And what do you think of that? Curt?
Well, you know how for years I worked as a nutritionist in dairy cows and with dairy cows, and we've seen over the last 150 years or something all this transition from a lot of farmers to the big farmers. Maybe after the pause we can talk about some other related AI issue.
No pause, Curt. Keep going.
Well, anyway, I thought I heard some audio coming.
You did.
But
They weren't
anyway,
supposed to send it. But keep going, sir.
Okay. We used to have all these farmers, and now we have just a few guys doing it. If you get all the AI guys that are replaced, I'm talking about the modern guys that all went to learn all about computer science, get replaced by AI, then we could have all these new farmers, and they do this high-tech work called farming, where they might have a chicken that can turn a bug into an egg. You talk about some high-tech stuff. I mean, maybe we're moving into a whole new tech world, there.
Well, they've done that with the mosquitoes. Bill Gates and company have done that with these fake mosquitoes already, Patrick.
They're planning to vaccinate the human population, if they can, with mosquitoes. Exactly right. And they're also building vaccines into food as well. And so you might have a lettuce salad someday that you say, well, here's your vaccine for this year. This is crazy stuff. Most people look at it and say, well, this is magic. Nobody can understand what's going on at this point, but it's really disturbing for sure.
So, Patrick, in your speech coming up for this event, the John Birch Society is having an event, ladies and gentlemen, in the great state of Utah at the beautiful Radisson Hotel. JBS.org/conference/SLC26 is where you can get your tickets to attend. Patrick will be one of the speakers, Mr. Patrick Wood, well known for technocracy.news and his incredible books on the topic and everything else. Many of us are feeling like I don't know what can be done about it. The politicians don't listen to me. I've been disenfranchised forever. People feel like they're already forced into the plan, whether they like it or not, Patrick.
This is a problem. People sense there's no consent form for this, not at all, right? They're in a habit at this point of just doing what they wanted to do without any consent from the public. This is disturbing all around because it just tells you they don't care about people, that they have no concept of compassion, of empathy, and they just basically don't care. So they're going to execute their agenda no matter what the consequences are for us, and we're left out in the cold here around the country, and people are getting very, very upset. Look at this new data center that's being planned for Utah, for instance. 40,000 acres of land, really. This is an 8-mile square block of land that's going to be used for this huge data center that'll eventually consume twice the energy consumption of Utah, the whole state. So they're using an obscure technique because the military got involved. There's 15 acres of that land in a military reservation. And so the military has swooped in to bypass all the normal checks and balances in society, like the city councils and et cetera, the county people, and they're forcing this on people, and the people in Utah are hopping mad because they have no say, and all this stuff is being done to disrupt their communities, and nobody will listen at this point. Even the county commissions people won't listen. So this is really disturbing. This is racing across the country. This type of steamrolling the people, and people are going to be sick and tired of it. Eventually, they're going to. I hate to say it this way. They're going to figure out the only way to stop this is through violence, and I don't like that at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what to say about this because I agree that people's hands are tied and they feel disenfranchised. Curt?
Well, and so much of it seems to be, Sam, these backroom deals. You remember going to these, city and state and county meetings with me where you'd have these little guys that were kind of just supposed to lead you and guide you along the way, and make sure you came to the right conclusion with what should be done with your property or your county or your city or your state. And you remember meeting in those places, huh, Sam? And those little influencers, they'd sure listen to you and do exactly what you hoped, didn't they?
Oh, every time when Sam Bushman would roll in, those people would just absolutely sit up and take notice. And
they love it.
Oh, no.
Anyway, tell me about a tokenized choke point. You get tokens in AI, and they're getting used to, using how many tokens and everything else. They're going to create a tokenized choke point, if you will, a tokenization choke point. Tell us about that, Patrick, how that works.
Well, we've been talking about tokenization, myself and my co-author, Courtney Turner. We've been talking about this for a long time. This is a kind of a hidden aspect at this point that escapes people. But this is going to be the mechanism. Tokenization is going to be the mechanism that will bring Klaus Schwab's statement to life that he said several years ago at this point. By 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You're not going to be happy, I guarantee. But the concept of you will own nothing, this is being realized with tokenization. And tokenization, what happens when property, especially real property, is tokenized, and the shares of that token, or excuse me, that asset are spread all over the world. And people can buy and sell them, and they say, well, it'd be wonderful because little investors are going to get a piece of the action. This is a false read on this. What happens when the value of your property is reduced to tokens that nobody or anybody can own, the title evaporates at that point as far as you're concerned, and the property then has to be managed by somebody, because otherwise it'll go into disrepair. But once the tokens are lifted out, in other words, the value of that land is lifted out, spread around the world with tokens, who owns the property at that point? Well, nobody and everybody at the same time. But you don't own it. That's my point. When property rights disappear in America, America's over, because that's part and parcel of the free market economic system that we have. And
who owns it in that world is whoever controls the tech, Patrick.
Yeah, this is the choke point for sure. And when you consider that the New York Stock Exchange at this point, they just said they're going to tokenize the entirety of the New York Stock Exchange. That's huge. We're talking trillions and trillions of dollars being tokenized. This is not economic security for Americans, for sure.
All right, where does President Donald Trump stand on this? Because he was against digital, whatever you want to call it, cryptocurrency and everything else. I've been telling people not to dip their toe in the crypto for a long time. And then now President Trump has changed his tune. He's totally backing a digital currency or crypto currency now. He's getting rich on cryptocurrency. Do you think President Trump sees it for what it is? And where do you think he stands?
Well, I think he must at this point. He's making billions of dollars off this whole process, and so I mean, I don't know how you can be making that kind of money and not understand what's going on. That doesn't make any sense to me. But this is the essence of my new book. Oops, sorry, it's backwards. But my new book is called The New Economics of Technocracy, and it's based part on what Donald Trump has done in this administration vis-a-vis tokenization. You might remember from his first administration, he was totally against cryptocurrency. He said, "Oh, it's a scam against the dollar." That's what he called Bitcoin. Well, he changed his tune in I think September or so before the last election, 2024, and all of a sudden he's gone all in on tokenization and cryptocurrency with his own company, World Liberty Financial. And he's grown this company at this point. Just think of this. Who does this, by the way? I don't know. I wish I could. His company went from $0 in say November 24 to today. It's a $13.5 billion company. Wow, that's just huge, and it's still increasing at this point. That's because people like Larry Fink says, and anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. So this is an industry that's just taken off like a rocket ship.
Curt, Crosby, what do you say to this?
Well, I say bring on honest money, Let's return to what the Constitution says, Article 1, Section 10, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, But I do know there's alternative payment systems and things like that. I just hope for honest money, the way that things went pretty well for a lot of years in America with that.
Amen to that. Technocracy.news is Patrick Wood's website. He'll be speaking in Salt Lake City on June 5th and 6th. To learn more, jbs.org/conference/SLC26. Patrick, what do? Do you dabble in this stuff? Do you partly play ball? Do you get completely left behind? How do you oppose this if you're a Utahn and oppose this data center, but at the same time not get left behind and stay in the economy and survive with a job and everything else? How do you do that?
Well, I have a motto at this point. The only use for AI is to destroy AI. So I'll just throw it out there. Whatever you can use as a tool to fight this monster, we need to do it. We need to pick up anything that we can get our hands on and fight this like crazy, because at this point they are playing for keeps with our lives at this point, with our property, and this is not acceptable. Totally unacceptable. This is the American way, where our whole country is built on freedom, liberty, and the right to own property. That's part and parcel of the economic system. If we lose that, we'll be in a digital gulag before the sun goes down.
Yeah, they won't need to throw us in jail anymore. They'll just let us run around on a universal basic income, and it'll just be like the whole world's like a Chuck E. Cheese, everybody. I just imagine that, just mayhem in the restaurant, just crazy, kids going crazy. Everybody's got tokens. Everybody's playing video games and thinks they're having fun. Oh, boy. I'm just telling you right now, you got to write a book, Patrick, called Chuck E. Cheese, the Nation. Not. All right, just saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Patrick. We appreciate you, my friend. We'll look forward to your speech.
Sounds good. I'll see you there.
Technocracynews.com is the website for Patrick Wood. Check out his incredible books. He's speaking June 5th and 6th in Salt Lake City. jbs.org/conference/SLC26. Curt Crosby, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you, and we'll look forward to you coming back from time to time.
Thank you, Sam. Good work.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. I can say one thing. God save the Republic of the United States of America.